stable multivibrator. So now first take the circuit diagram. So any multivibrator consists of two transistors. Here I am taking two transistors, and here these two transistors were connected back to back. So the transistor having three terminals, and one of them is marked with arrow, and this terminal indicates the emitter terminal, and here I am grounded these terminals, so that indicates that the transistor is operated in common emitter configuration mode. That indicates that the input is applied at the base terminal and the output is taken at the collector terminal. So let us assume that this is the transistor Q1 and this one is the transistor Q2. Okay, here to operate these transistors we require a DC supply. So we already know that the DC supply we are not connected directly. So for that we are taking some limiting resistors. So this is RC1 and this one is RC2. So RC1 is connected to collector terminal of the transistor Q1 and RC2 is connected to collector transistor of the Q2. So here the transistors Q1 and Q2 are connected in cross coupled manner. That means the output of one transistor is connected to input to the second transistor, and the output of Q2 is connected to input to the transistor Q1. So here for connecting like that, the output is connected to input of Q2 through a RC network. So this RC network we are used for connecting the output of Q1 to input of Q2. Okay, now in same way I am using one more RC network for connecting the output of Q2 to the input of Q1, nothing but base of Q1. So here I am taking one more RC network. So this is used for connecting the output of Q2 to the input of the Q1. So like this I am cross coupled. So this RC network is for Q1, that's why I named this RC network as R1 and C1, and this RC network acts as an input to the Q2, that's why I am naming this one is R2 and C2. Okay, now the circuit diagram is over, and where we are giving the input, the inputs are given at the base terminals. So let it be this is VB1 and this one is VB2, and the outputs are taken at collector terminals. So that's why here the output of Q1 I am name it as VC1, the output of Q2 I am name it as VC2. Always remember that the outputs of two transistors always complement to each other. That means if you are getting VC1 value as A, if VC1 value, the output value is, if I am getting as Q, let it be Q, then VC2 should be Q bar. We are getting like that. Okay, so because of this cross coupling connection. Okay, now let us move on to the operation or working principle. Working principle. Okay, so let us explain the working principle of this one with the circuit diagram. Okay, here we have two transistors Q1 and Q2. Whenever we are applying the power supply plus VCC, then what happened? These transistors is on. So here I am already told that at a time both the transistors are not switch on. So one transistor is on and other one is off. So this is possible due to the internal doping level concentrations of these transistors. For the sake of explanation, so I first assume that Q1 is on. So the first one is Q1 is on. When Q1 is on, what happened? The voltages. So when Q1 is on, what happened? So one more point I need to specify here. So here the two transistors are operated as a switch. We already know that the transistor is operated in three regions. One is active and other one is saturation and other one is cutoff. So in saturation region the transistor acts as on switch. In cutoff region the transistor acts as a half switch. So here I mentioned that this transistor acts as a switch. Okay, therefore depending on its inputs it may be operated in cutoff region or it may be in saturation region. Okay, so let us assume that the first one I am taking Q1 is on. Then what about VC1? The output voltage at the Q1, VC1 is equal to VCE SAT. So what is VCE SAT value? For a silicon transistor it is 0.2 volts. It is in between, it is not exactly constant, it is in between 0.1 to 0.3 volts. Then what about VB1? VB1 is equal to, what is VB1? So that is VBE SAT. So we are getting two values. So VBE SAT is nothing but the cut-in voltage of this transistor. So the cut-in voltage for the silicon transistor is nearly 0.6 volts or 0.7 volts. Okay, so this is the first one. So this is for practical cases, but ideally this value is 0. So this value is also ideally 0. Okay, now coming to what about the currents? If it is in saturation, we are getting the maximum current, collector current, we are getting the maximum base current. So IC1 value is max and the IB1 value is also maximum. Now coming to, so when Q1 is on, what about Q2? Q2 value is obviously half. Q2 is half. When Q2 is half, then what about the values of VC2? So when Q2 is off, then what happened? The output voltage, so it acts as a open circuit, that means half switch. Then what happened? VC2 is connected to VCC. So VC2 is connected to VCC. So the value becomes plus VCC. Now what about VB2? VB2. So the VB2 is connected to again VCC, but it is in reverse direction. Therefore, the VB2 is minus VCC. So what happened? What about the currents? IB2 is 0. Why? Because the current flowing through half switch is 0 and IC2 is also 0. Now what happened? Initially this is a condition. Now what happened? When VC2 is becomes plus VCC, VB2 is equal to minus VCC. That means this transistor is half, therefore here it is open circuit. Now what happened? This transistor is on, therefore we are getting a closed path here. We are getting a closed path here. Therefore what happened? Here the capacitor starts charging. The C2 starts charging. When capacitor starts charging towards VCC with the time constant C2, then what happened? So here this voltage we are applied to where? This voltage is applied to the base of transistor Q2. Okay, initially the base of transistor Q2 consists minus VCC. Now the capacitor C2 charges towards plus VCC through R to C2 or charging time constant of C2 is tau 2 is equal to R2 C2. So why this capacitor is charging here? Here we are getting a closed loop. So plus VCC R2 C2 and this transistor is on. Therefore we are getting a closed loop. Okay. Therefore the closed path here we are getting. Therefore some current is flowing through this transistor. Therefore the capacitor starts charging. At this moment what happened? When the capacitor charges to plus VBE value, when capacitor C2 charges to VBE value, then what happened? The transistor Q2 is on. Why? Here when it reaches to VBE, this VBE is connected to base of Q2, therefore this becomes on. When this becomes on, what happened? The VC2 becomes 0 volts. DC becomes 0.2 volts or VC is sat. Practically it is VC is sat, but ideally it is 0 volts. So what happened? VCE2 becomes 0 and this is connected to where? This is directly connected to VB1. So VB1 is nothing but the base of Q1. Therefore Q1 becomes half. Therefore Q1 is half. So now what happened? So now we are getting two conditions. What is the two conditions? The first one is Q2 is on and next one is Q1 is half. So when Q2 is on, what happened? VC2 value we are getting as VC sat. And what about VB2? VB2 we are getting as VBE sat. Okay, so let us I take ideal values as 0 volts. Okay, next one, otherwise we can take 0.6 volts and this one is 0.2 volts as you wish. Okay, next what about the current passing through transistor Q2? The transistor Q2 is now on, so therefore what happened? We are getting maximum current. So IC2 is max and IB2 is also max. Okay, now what about Q1 is half? When Q1 is half, what will be the values? So VC1 is equal to plus VCC and VB1 is equal to minus VCC and IC1 is 0 and IB1 is also 0. But at this time what happened? So here what happened? So Q1 is half and Q2 is on. So there is a closed path from VCC to ground through Q2. So here we are having the closed path. So in before case, when Q1 is on, Q2 is half, we are getting the closed path here. But when Q1 is off and Q2 is on, we are getting the closed path here. Okay, at this point what happened? Initially the value of VB1 is minus VCE, but here what happened? The capacitor starts charging towards VCC with a time constant R1 and C1. At one particular point it becomes 0.6 volts or VBE value. At that time what happened? Q1 becomes on. Okay, so here in this case C1 charges through R1 and C1 towards VCC. Therefore VB1 becomes VB1 becomes VBE of Q1 0.6 volts. Then what happened? Q1 is on. Once if the Q1 is on, so because of this charging, then what happened? VB1 becomes 0.7 volts or 0.6 volts. Because of this one, Q1 is on. At that point, what happened? So when Q1 is on, VC1 becomes 0. So VC1 becomes, VC is at 0.2 volts. VC is at 0.2 volts. This 0.2 volts is applied to VB2. So this 0.2 volts is applied to VB2. Therefore what happened? Q2 is half. Q2 is half. Okay. So now again we are getting Q1 is on, Q2 is half. If Q1 is on, Q2 is half, then what happened? Q1 on, Q2 half. We are getting these values. Then again the capacitor C2 charges towards VCC through R2C2. Again what happened? Q2 is on, Q1 is off. Again this cycle is repeats like this. So this is continuous process. So we are getting the continuous states changeover. Now we are understood the what is the working of astable multivibrator. Based on these values, we will start the output waveforms of astable multivibrator. Okay, let us start with the first one. I am consider the VC1 and second one VC2. Both output voltages of transistor Q1 and Q2 and the inputs of both transistors Q1 and Q2, that is VB1 and VB2. So these are the input and output voltage waveforms. So I start with, so here, so always remember that here all the parameters are time dependable parameters. That's why I am taking T, and the first one I am drawn for VC1 with respect to T, and next one I am drawn for VC2 with respect to T, and next one inputs, first VB1 with respect to T, and next one VB2 with respect to T. So VB1 input for Q1, VB2 input for Q2, and next one VC1 is output for Q1 and VC2 is output for Q2. So first I will start with when Q1 is on and Q2 is half. So mention here, so first Q1 is on and Q2 is half. So now what happened? So this is a line for differential. Next, so at this case VC1 is equal to VC sat. For Q1 is on, VC1 is equal to VC stat. So I start with VC1 is equal to VC sat up to this point. Now VB1 is equal to VB sat. VB1 is equal to VB sat. Next, VC2 is equal to VCC. VC2 is equal to VCC. I am giving the names here. So this is VCC and this is VCE sat and this is plus VCC. So here it is plus VCC and here I mentioned VCE sat, and next one this is VBE sat, and here it is minus VCC, and next one VBE sat, and here it is minus VCC. Okay, so we are starting VC2 is equal to plus VCC. So VCC2 is equal to plus VCC. So here plus VCC with, I mentioned, a slight change. Why? Because here we have the transition from one state to another state for represent. That's why I am putting a curve here. Next one, VBE is equal to minus VCC. VB2 is equal to minus VCC, but it is not I'd say minus VCC itself. Here when Q1 is on and Q2 is off, what happens? C2 charges towards VCC through time constant R to C2. We already know that the capacitor charges exponentially. Okay, so this when capacitor charges exponentially, the voltage at VB2 is also changes exponentially. It is also increases from minus VB2 minus VCC to some positive value exponentially. Okay, so I am represent VB2 here as exponential increase. It is initially at minus VCC, so it is exponentially increases from minus VCC to VB set. So this is the exponential increase. Now what happened? Now we are move on to when Q2 is on and Q1 is off. When Q2 is on, then what happened? VC2 becomes VCE set. VC2. So VC2 becomes VC set. So it is decreases. So here we are getting VC set. So at this point, what is VB2? VB2 is equal to VBE set. VB2. VB2 is equal to VBE set during this duration. Now what happened? VC1 is equal to plus VCC. VC1 is equal to plus VCC. So VC1 is equal to plus VCC. So I am already told that here we have little bit curved nature. Next what happened? VB1 is equal to minus VCC, and here due to C1, VB1 charges towards plus VBE sat. Okay, so it is exponentially increases. So here VB1 exponentially increases from minus VCC to VBE sat. So VB1 is initially at minus VCC. Now it is exponentially increases to VBE set. So this is the waveforms. So now this waveform is for what? Q2 on, Q1 off. Okay, these waveforms are continuous. Okay, I write it. So here I am write it. So first Q1 on and here Q1 off. Alternatively Q2 off, here Q2 on. The same curves repeatedly. Right. So when Q1 on, the VC1 value is VC set, and when Q1 off, it becomes VCC. So we are getting like this. So this is the waveform. Next, coming to VC2, output voltage of Q2. So here Q2 is half, therefore it is VCC. Here Q2 is on, therefore it is VC set. Next, coming to VB1. VB1 is nothing but input voltage of the Q1. So Q1. So here Q1 on, it is at VBE set. When Q1 is half, it charges exponentially from minus VCC. So next VB2. VB2 is nothing but input of Q2. When Q2 half, it is exponentially increased from VCC. It is exponentially increased from VCC. Next, when Q2 is on, it is VBE set. So this is the waveforms of unstable multi-vibrator. So based on this, we are deriving the expression. So time period or frequency of unstable multivibrator. Time period of unstable multivibrator. So if you observe this, so here in the circuit diagram, in the circuit diagram, if you observe that the C1 charges with time constant tau 1 and it ons the Q1. It ons the Q1. Okay. Next one. So C2 ons the Q2. C2 ons the Q2. Okay. So that's I'm clearly mentioned here. Okay. So this point ons which one? This point ons Q1. So this is the duration of T1. So this is T1. So this I'm write it as T1. And what about this one? This ons which Q2. So this is the duration of T2. So what is T1 and T2? So it decides the time period of astable multivibrator. The sum of T1 and T2. T1 is the time taken to switch on the Q1. T2 is the time taken to switch on the Q2. So the sum of T1 and T2 gives the time period of the astable multivibrator. So from this diagram I derive the expression. Okay. So first let us start with what is the voltage across the capacitor. In general, the voltage across capacitor is given by Vc is equal to V final minus V initial into e power minus t by Rc. So here I am consider C1. So consider capacitor C1. Therefore what happened? This becomes Vc1. Voltage across the capacitor C1 is equal to V final minus V initial into e power minus t by R1 C1. T by R1 C1. So what is V final value? V final value. So up to which point the capacitors charging? The maximum value of the capacitor is VCC. So the maximum value up to VCC the capacitor can able to charge. What is the initial value? What is the initial value? We are getting least value we are getting in waveforms. The least value we are getting minus VCC. So the capacitor start charging from minus VCC and the capacitor charges up to plus VCC. So the final value is plus VCC and the initial value is minus VCC. If you are substituting this final value, initial value here, what we are getting? VC1 is equal to VCC. The final value is VCC minus final value VCC minus initial value. My initial value is minus VCC into e power minus t by R1 C1. So what we are getting now? VCC minus VCC minus of minus it becomes plus. So VCC plus VCC. So it is 2 VCC e power minus t by R1 C1. Okay. Now at t is equal to T1. So at t is equal to T1, what happened? At particular instant, the capacitor does not change its values. So VC1 becomes 0. So here at t is equal to T1, the capacitor is at minus VCC, but it suddenly not changes to plus VCC. Therefore, this is 0. So now what is the equation becomes? 0 is equal to VCC minus 2 VCC e power. So what is this value? T1 by R1 C1. So simplify this equation. VCC is equal to 2 VCC e power minus T1 by R1 C1. VCC get cancelled. This equation becomes 1 by 2 e power minus T1 by R1 C1. Now reciprocal on both sides, then it becomes 2 is equal to, it becomes plus e power plus T1 by R1 C1. Okay, then what happened? apply natural logarithm on both sides. Ln of 2 is equal to T1 by R1 C1. Now I need T1 value. So T1 is equal to R1 C1 ln of 2. Okay. Now what is this T1 value? So now this T1 value becomes ln of 2 value is 0.693 R1 C1. So similarly I am applying for capacitor 2, then we are getting T2 as 0.693 R2 C2. Now what is the total time period? Total time period of a stable multivibrator is given by T is equal to T1 plus T2. So we are getting 0.693 into R1 C1 plus R2 C2. Here I am considered that both the resistance values R1 and R2 value is equal to R, and both the capacitors C1 and C2 value is equal to C. Then what happened? Then the equation becomes 0.693 into RC plus RC, so 2RC. Then we are getting T is equal then we are getting the value of T as T is equal to 1.386 into RC. So this is the time period of a stable multivibrator. Now what is the frequency? What is the frequency of the waveform? So what is the waveform we are getting here? What is the waveform we are getting? So what is the output of the stable multivibrator? So it is a square waveform. So the frequency of output waveform is given by F is equal to reciprocal of the time period. So F is equal to 1 by 1.386 RC. So 1 by 1.386 value is given by 0.72. So this is the frequency of the output waveform. Okay, that's it. Now coming to summary. So what is the summary of this waveform, or the points to be remembered? Okay, so now see these waveforms here. So initially Q1 is on and it moves to off, and again it moves to on, and again it moves to half without applying any external signal. So for a stable multivibrator, no triggering pulse are required. No triggering pulse are required. That means externally triggering is not required. Next, one more point. So here, so continuously the output is changed from low to high, high to low, low to high, like this. So it is freely running in between the states. That's why this unstable multivibrator is called as free running multivibrator. Free running multivibrator. So here if you observe this waveform, so this is a square waveform. So it generates the square wave. So that's why it is also called as square wave generator. Square wave generator. Okay, so this is about unstable multivibrator. So it used as one of the application of its one is square wave generator, and it is also known as free running multivibrator. The advantage of this one is it doesn't require any external triggering pulse. So this is the advantage, this is the another name, and this is the application. So this is about unstable multivibrator.